Watching the footage, I see Sophie Cunningham now as being able to play the 1, the 2, the 3, and, with her experience over Mercury, the 4.
What if the most overlooked player on the Indiana Fever turns out to be their most dangerous weapon? While all eyes are glued to Caitlin Clark, someone else is quietly rewriting her role, and it might just shift the entire balance of power in the WNBA. Her name? Sophie Cunningham. And if you thought you knew her game, you might want to watch that tape again. You see, Sophie's been long known as a tough, gritty power forward. That's how Phoenix used her.
And Sutton forcing that turnover.
Oh, nice step through, dropping the rookie.
And here comes Sophie and the Mercury. Cunningham.
Mostly at the 4, crashing boards, spacing the floor, doing the dirty work. But here's where things get wild. Lexi Brown, in a recent episode of her Full Court podcast, casually dropped a bomb. Sophie's true position might actually be the 3.
Sophie Cunningham at the 1 as the point guard? You're crazy, you say, but no.
A small forward. More space, more movement, more freedom. And with the Fever aiming to run a high-speed, motion-heavy offense, that reclassification changes everything. But let's not stop there. What if she's not just a forward anymore? What if she's the most positionless player on this team? New footage from training camp has surfaced, and it's straight up eye-opening. Sophie Cunningham, yes, that's Sophie, is bringing the ball up the floor, running point, barking out plays, directing traffic like a seasoned floor general. At first, it looks strange, then it looks natural. Sharp passes, full court vision, clean decision-making. It's not just functional, it's fluid. The confidence she's showing with the ball in her hands? It's giving real coach-on-the-floor energy. And don't miss what's behind the stats. Watch the huddles. She's the one talking, motivating, commanding tempo. The kind of leadership that doesn't show up on paper but changes the rhythm of a team. That's not just playing, that's owning the game. These are just the first days of the training camp. Everyone's still adjusting, but already the Fever coaching staff appears to be testing something. And with veteran point guard Sid Colson still dialing in her rhythm, Sophie might just be sneaking into a backup ball handler role when the lights come on. Let's look at the Fever's depth chart. It says a lot. At point guard, you've got Caitlin Clark, Sid, Kelsey Mitchell, and yes, Sophie. At the 2, Kelsey again, Lexi, and Sophie. At the 3, DB, Lexi, Sophie. The 4, Flash, Bree, Dantas. And there she is again. You know where her name doesn't show up? The 5th. And that's fair. She's not bodying up against someone like Jonquel Jones without catching air. But everywhere else? She's penciled in. Over and over. That's not normal. That's weaponized flexibility. It's one thing for analysts to speculate, but it's another when the player herself doubles down. During a training camp interview, Sophie dropped the clearest confirmation yet. You'll see 1 through 5 is interchangeable. She compared Caitlin Clark to a younger, spunkier Diana Taurasi and said playing with that kind of visionary point guard forces you to keep your head on a swivel.
What's it like to, Caitlin, you play with a point guard like DT who can get you the ball anywhere, and does that kind of help you with the learning curve a little bit?
Yeah, I think anytime you play with the GOAT of our team, or the GOAT of our game, you're going to learn a lot. You have to be ready for the ball, head on a swivel at all times, and the way that she throws the ball is a lot how DT threw it. I think this is just the younger version of her, so she has a little bit more energy, a little bit more spunk. I miss DT in her prime, but it doesn't mean she wasn't great when I played with her. But honestly, at the end of the day, everybody can shoot, right? If you're cutting and you're open, you're going to get the ball, and so you just have to be ready for that. And I'm excited for that. And I think you'll see 1 through 5 is interchangeable. And so you'll see the 5 bring the ball down. So it's going to be a little different for other teams to play defense against us as well.
Everybody can shoot, she said. You just have to be ready. That's not just a soundbite. That's a window into the team's entire offensive philosophy. But Sophie's not just saying the right things. She's backing them up with presence. Everywhere she goes, there's energy, confidence, focus. The Fever aren't just building around talent. They're building around mentality. And Sophie? She's bringing both. You start to notice a pattern in camp. Every player interviewed keeps saying the same thing. Everybody wants to be there. No drama, no coasting, just locked-in intensity. That kind of environment is where players evolve. Sophie even calls herself a tweener, caught between the vets and the rookies. She's soaking it all in, trying to be good now, but great by the time preseason ends.
No, I just think that's what they were doing in the offseason. They were trying to get winners, people who know how to compete, people who want to win, and put that together with experience, people who have championships. And so when you have that type of combination, and us kind of young bucks, I'm kind of a tweener, and then you have the vets, you know, you're just trying to be a sponge, you're trying to learn, you're trying to be good now, but at the end of the day, you're trying to be the best when it's preseason, right?
That growth mindset is exactly what Stephanie White demands. This isn't a coach who's here to have fun and figure it out on the fly. This is structure. This is detail. This is blur the playbook in the footage type of discipline. Every possession matters. Every rotation is a test. And Sophie is thriving inside that system. Even during media day drills and behind-the-scenes footage, White's voice cuts through the noise. Play through it. Problem solve in live action. Find calm in chaos.
Our body to move quickly and our minds to slow down. Okay, that's part of putting us in situations where it's not going to be a structure, where there's going to be some chaos. It's up to you to start to find the calm in the chaos. We got to learn to find space in chaos so that we can put people in positions to be successful.
That's the Fever's blueprint. Play fast, but play smart. And that requires players who understand more than just their role. It takes players who can think the game in motion. And that's where Sophie comes in. While others are figuring out their fit, she's doing a bit of everything. Facilitating, spacing the floor, hitting threes, rotating defensively, bringing the vibe. She's dancing with Caitlin Clark, cracking jokes, then turning around and dropping a dime on a fast break. That's a glue player, a chemistry magnet, and those players win games in the clutch. Some say she might become the Fever's sixth woman. Others see her sneaking into late-game lineups when they need poise, spacing, and veteran confidence. But the bigger picture is this. In a league where most players fit into one role, Sophie Cunningham just broke the mold. She's not a 1, she's not a 4, she's whatever the Fever need, whenever they need it.
Figure it out, problem solve in live action, okay? We'll be able to make plays because of that. All right, let's go, y'all. Have a good day. Here we go. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
And that kind of unpredictability? That's a nightmare for opposing coaches. The WNBA is evolving fast. Offenses are faster, more fluid, less traditional. The teams that thrive will be the ones that confuse, surprise, and adapt. And with Sophie Cunningham sliding between 4 positions on any given night, Indiana might just be holding the ultimate wild card. So while the headlines may scream Caitlin Clark, don't be surprised if the player changing the game is the one flying under the radar. Because when the Fever's secret weapon shows up off the bench, it might already be too late.